Are you too old to be a private investigator? This is one of the most common questions that I get from people. They ask me, Larry, I'm in my 50s, I'm in my 60s. Am I too old to get into the PI game? The short answer is no. But it's just amazing to me how often I get this question. I answered it on one of my recent live streams, but I want to address it here now. It comes from the mailbag. I got an email from Mark. He says, can you address the concern regarding entering private investigations after the age of 60? He says, this is a desire I've had for a very long time and would like to pursue this path, but age seems to be a mental block for me and others I've spoken to who are in my situation. Now, I really congratulate Mark because he's hit on one of the key things here, and that's the idea of the mental block. And people do this all the time. It's a very human thing to say, well, I would do this thing, but I'm too old, or I'm too young, or my city's too big, or my city's too small. And it's really funny. I get the bird's eye view. I get to hear from a lot of people, and that's what I hear. The guy that's working in a big city thinks he'd have better luck in a small city because there's less PIs and less competition. The guy working in a small town thinks that he'd be better off in a big city where there's more clients. So the grass is always greener, right? But I would not let age be a mental block for you on this. Lots and lots of private investigators are pursuing this as a second career. Now, sure, many of them got out of, say, law enforcement or working as in-house investigators for maybe a bank or a fraud type work. And then they've opened up, they put out their own shingle, they've opened their own detective agency. Nothing wrong with that. But even if you don't have experience in this field, if you desire to get your license and you can meet the state's requirements, which are frequently ridiculously high and do have an experience requirement. But Mark told me in his email that his state allows him to substitute an education requirement for that experience requirement. I really applaud. I don't know what state he's in. I really applaud that. It's a legitimate thing in my view, and it's very helpful for getting people into this field. So no, age is not going to be a limiting factor for you becoming a private investigator. I honestly believe that. In fact, you bring life's experiences and dealing with people, no matter what your history is, you bring that to private investigations and your skills as a private investigator. If you've been an auto mechanic for years, you're going to be able to interact with blue collar workers a lot better than somebody who's coming out of maybe being an attorney for years. If you, whatever you have in your history, if you worked human resources, then you have a feel for how to interact with companies. And if you're doing background checks as a private investigator, you've got that advantage. So whatever your experience and past is, you bring as a unique thing to your personal private investigator skill set. And if I can tell you one thing about making money as a private investigator, if you own your own agency, being able to differentiate why you're unique is really, really important, because outsiders think we're all exactly the same. A PI is a PI. Vastly different private investigators. It's just experience, skill sets, what they're good at. And you got to be careful. Make sure if you are hiring a private investigator, you pick someone who's got experience and skills in the specialty that you're interested in. If you need surveillance, go to somebody who does a lot of surveillance. If you want to do surveillance as a private investigator, make sure you get good training. I have the Investigator's Ultimate Guide to Surveillance. I'm happy to share with you there. I share everything I know. I empty the bucket. When you are done with that training, you'll know, okay, I knew a lot of this, but now I know nobody's holding back a secret. There's not this thing that everybody else knows that I'm missing. And it will help you immensely, the training. But whatever you decide to do, your previous history is going to help you with that. Now, let me share with you one thing that no one is talking about and no one is telling you. We think in the United States of life expectancy, average life expectancy, to be about 80 years. There are differences for gender and other elements, but we roughly say in the United States, the average life expectancy is 80. Here's what no one is telling you. That number includes all sorts of deaths, including infant mortality, drug overdoses, suicide, workplace accidents. All of that is factored in. The key thing you need to know is if you're 65 or older, your average life expectancy is not 80. Your average life expectancy is 85 years old because you've already beaten a lot of those mortality things earlier in life. You've beat them. So your average life expectancy, if you've already made it to 65, is 85. And that's not an insignificant chunk of time. And that's just the average. So yeah, half the people are not going to live to 85, but half those people, 65 and over, are going to live older than 85. So when you talk about getting into PI work at 65 or maybe even 70, we're talking about you have an average of 15 more years of life to you. You can do a lot of things, keeping your mind active, getting out, doing something you enjoy, making some extra money. All of that comes into play. So do not let the age be an issue for you if you want to become a private investigator. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. In the meantime, this is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's a hard thing. If you'd like to capture incredible surveillance video just like this, then the Investigator's Ultimate Guide to Surveillance is for you. It is 100% satisfaction guaranteed, no questions asked. If you want your money back, just ask. You'll get it, every penny. That's my promise to you.